There you go.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so once you go into the app, you're going to see something similar to this. It's just a blank screen, basically. There's nothing in here. So it's going to be blank for you. So I just deleted all my stuff that I had in here just so we can start from scratch. This does work on computers. It does work on iPhones, Androids, all sorts of stuff. Another nice thing about this app is as long as everybody's logging into the same Gmail account to access the app, you can actually see, your sales rep or whoever's doing the estimates. You can see the estimates real time. You can make changes to it if you want to real time, and then the changes will be reflected on their end. So if you have a sales rep that's in the field and you're in the office and they want you to take a look at something, you want to adjust something, you just click save and it'll save it, and then they'll have an opportunity to to move forward with it. Okay, so the first time you go in here, you've got several different tabs, and again, back on Clip a U, I've got the photos that show you customer tab, status, estimates, and summary. And once we actually put together an estimate, I'll go through each of those sections and show you exactly what they are. First thing is you want to go up to settings up here, the little hamburger menu. Jeffrey, I know you know what a hamburger menu is. We talked about that, or Jeff, we talked about that the other day. So click on the hamburger menu up here, left top corner. Okay, and then you're going to go to your settings. So we need to establish our settings because the app will not work without it. I'm going to click on settings. Within there, there's nothing. So I'm going to click down on the bottom plus sign right here. We're going to add our company information. So I'm just going to put CHS. That's the name of my company. It's Celebration Holiday Studio. We do commercial installs out here in Southern California. And then I want to put my address in here. Okay. I could put my complete address if I want. I'm just going to put that real quick. My phone number. Okay. Cell phone if I want to. This information will show up on the estimate that's sent to the customer. So if you're going to send these to the customers, if you decide that you don't want to send it directly to the customer, you'd rather send it to your office and then they can put it in your CRM and then send it out from there, that's fine too. But this information will show up and you can see that these are required fields. So you've got to fill out these fields. Cell phone's not. Okay, we've got sales email. So I'm just going to put Matt at Clippa. Okay, salesperson, if I want to put that on there, that will show up in the estimate. So this is my break even. This is what we just calculated on Clippa U. We calculated our break even. Mine showed up at $2. That was $2.05. So I'm going to put $2.05 here. Okay. You should be in a range of $1.75 on the low end, all the way up to probably, I would say $2.50 on the high end. If you're outside that range and you can't figure it out, maybe you have more expenses, so you are on the higher end. maybe your truck payment is $1,000, a month or something. So that could happen. But if you're not sure, if you're not sure about it, just please contact us and we can help you out with that. Okay, so 205 was based on 3 crew members, so I'm going to put 3 here. Terms and conditions. If I'm going to use the estimate and send it to the customer, I'm going to include my terms and conditions. If you're a Clippa member, we do have those available on the back end. There's a template there, so you can copy and paste those. Just insert your company name. So terms and conditions are just anything general. We are not responsible for acts of God. We're not responsible for vandalism. Just things like that. So we do have those terms and conditions on the back end. If you're not a Clippa member and you don't have access to it, you're going to have to come up with your own. So that's where you'll put the terms and conditions, and that does show up on the estimate that goes to the customer. Okay, this is your default markup. Okay, so this is what you're marking up labor. When we train and in the app, when we teach people, you can use it if you're selling lights. But when we train and teach people, we teach leasing model. So in this instance, what we're going to do is we're going to be marking up the labor only is what we're going to be marking up. And I'm going to get into lights and how we calculate lights and how we do mark those up a little bit, but we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So markup is for labor only. So with this, I'm going to do about 125% markup. We're a little bit higher than that doing commercial installs. We're probably closer to 200% markup, but this can be changed anywhere within each section. This is just your default. So when I go into each section, roof lines, windows, whatever I'm doing for the customer, it'll show 125. I can adjust it within that section if I want. So this is just a default. I did see somebody the other day that only had like 20% markup. That's almost a nonprofit company. So you want to make sure that you're really putting this up a little bit higher, and you can adjust it within each section if you want to. Okay, so labor tax rate, if your state requires you to charge labor tax, then you do want to put that in there. Product tax rate, you're only going to put that in there if you're selling to the lights to the customer, okay? Because you're selling to them, you got charge tax on it, you want to collect tax, you're supposed to be paying product tax to the state. So you want to make sure you put that in, that percent in there if you're selling to the customer. If you're leasing to the customer, you just want to leave these at 0. So you do have to put a number in here. Just going to put 0. Okay. Logo, this will show up on the estimate sent to the customer. So you want to upload your logo. There's my logo. Okay. And then I'm going to click save. Okay. So we can only have one company in here. You can't have multiple companies. I've got all my settings set up here, so I am ready to roll on this. So that's the initial setup. The app will now function. I do have some more setup I need to do. I need to set up all my products. Okay, so we're going to go in and we're going to put our products. We're going to do 2 different products at this point. Actually, I'll do 3. We're going to do mini lights. We're going to do, for bushes, trees, all sorts of stuff. And then we're going to do C9 light line for roof lines. And then we're also going to do a wreath. I'll show you how to insert a wreath if you guys decide that you're going to do wreaths. Okay. So we got the settings set up. We're going to go in here, hamburger menu, top left, and we're going to go to lights and garland. Once again, it's blank. So we need to add some lights and garland. So we're going to go ahead and click on the plus sign, type of lights. I'm just going to do C9 light line. Now, if I'm using C9 light line, 15-inch spacing, everything across, if I'm mixing and matching, which you really shouldn't be, but let's say I am, let's say sometimes I'm doing 15-inch spacing, sometimes I'm doing 12-inch spacing, then you're going to want to make 2 different categories, because obviously it's going to cost you more if you're using 12-inch spacing. So you're going to want to specify 2 different types of lights that you're using. So in this instance, I don't. I use 15-inch spacing across the board. So I don't need to worry about that. Customer's not going to see this. They're not going to know, what kind of lights I'm using unless we talk to them about it. Obviously, we're going to talk, hey, we're going to do warm white on your roof line. That's all I'm telling them. I'm not talking about 15-inch spacing, 12-inch spacing, all that stuff. I'm just telling them we're decorating your roof line. Okay. So in this instance, I'm going to put C9 light line. If my bulbs fluctuate, depending on who you're buying from vendor-wise, then I'm going to have to sit there and I'm going to have to make, C9 light line, blue, C9 light line, warm white. If there's a fluctuation within bulbs, if it's the same across the board, which most vendors are, then you're not going to have to worry about it. So you're just going to put C9 light line. Is this a strand? No, we consider a strand like a mini light strand, something you can't cut. So no, this is not a strand. And we're charging the customer per foot. So I'm going to put 1 foot. And then what is my price per foot for that C9 light line? Okay. The best way to figure this out is take it based on 1,000, because these typically come in 1,000-foot spools. Okay. What does it cost me for a 1,000-foot spool? I'm just going to, easy number. I'm going to do 300. It's more than that. It's probably 345, somewhere around there, depending on where you get it from. So I'm going to do 300 for 1,000 feet of spool. Okay. And then on a 1,000-foot spool, 15-inch spacing, there's 800 sockets. So what does it cost me for 800 bulbs? So I'm just going to say it's $1 per bulb. It's cheaper than that, but I'm just going to say it's $1. So now I'm at $1,200 or $1,100. Okay. And then I'm going to add the clips in there. So clips, if I'm using, tough clips, that's going to be probably about 20 cents, somewhere around there, 22 cents. So I'm at $1,100. I'm going to 0.22 times 800, because there's 800 sockets on 15-inch spacing. Okay, so that's $176 plus my 1,100. Okay, so right now I'm at $1,276. That's the light line, that's the bulb, and then that's a clip if I'm putting it on there. Okay, so that's my price, $1,276. I'm going to divide that by 1,000. Okay, I'm sorry, 1,000 divided by 1,276. Okay, so we're at, 1,276 divided by 1,000. We're at $1.27. That was pretty simple. I don't know why I had to use a calculator for that, but anyway, we're at $1.27. Okay, so another thing with this app, it doesn't take in consideration your X wire, your males and females, how many you're using, timers. So what you're going to want to do with that $1.27, that's $1.27 per foot is what it's cost me. I'm going to up that. I'm going to do probably anywhere from a 15 to 20% markup on that. So on $1.27, at a 20% markup, we're adding 25 cents. So we're at $1.52. That's the number I'm going to put in the spot right here. Okay, so I'm going to be charging the customer $1.52. This is a lease model right here. Okay, if I want to do a purchase model, you need to figure that out. You need to figure out how much you're going to charge, and how much money do you want to make on the purchase, on the sale of it. And then the next year, you're only going to charge them for, the labor cost. And the leasing model, whatever the price is this year, we charge the same next year. We actually do an increase every single year, 4 to 5%. I think it's about 5% now, just to compensate for, inflation, labor rate, all that stuff. So we increase every single year on our contracts. Okay, so we're at $1.52 right now. We're going to click save. Okay, we've got our C9 light line, and then we're going to add our mini lights in here. So I'm just going to put mini lights. My mini lights cost the same. Doesn't matter if they're red, green, blue, warm white, whatever. They're the same. Okay, if I'm going to mix and match and do 4-inch spacing mini lights and 6-inch spacing mini lights, then I'm gonna want to make sure I specify I'm going to do 2 different products. For me, I use the same across the board, so I'm not going to worry about it. I use 4-inch spacing across the board, so we're just going to keep it at that. We have used 6, on some projects, larger trees and things like that. So I may go in and put a 6-inch spacing in here as well. When I go into the bush or the tree I'm wrapping, you can select, you'll see a drop-down box, you can select. So we'll go ahead and make 2. I'm going to do a 6-inch spacing. Okay. Is this a strand? Yes, it is. What size strand are you using? For me, I use 24-foot strands. Okay. So there's 17-foot strands, there's 50-foot strands. We like the 24-foot strands because they're manageable, they're easy, and we just keep it consistent across the board. That's all we use is 24-foot strands. Okay. What is my price per strand? Let's just say I'm going to make it easy. I get them for $10. So what I'm going to do is I add my 15 to 20% as well. So 10 times point. Let's just do 20%. So that's easy. It's $2. So I'm going to put this at $12 is what I'm going to put at per strand. That's what we're going to charge the customer, $12 per strand. Click save. Okay. Because I do use 4-inch and 6-inch, I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to do mini lights, 4-inch spacing. Okay. Is this a strand? Yes, it is. It's a 24-foot strand. Those cost me a little bit more. So maybe those are $12. So I'm going to add $1.20 to that. So 12 plus $1, that's $13.20. Okay. And I'm going to click save. Okay. So I've got my 3 different types of lights here. I've got my mini lights, 6-inch spacing. I've got my mini lights, 4-inch spacing. And then I got my C9 light line. Okay. I'm going to go back here. We're going to add a wreath. If you guys are going to sell wreaths or do wreaths, you definitely want to add those in the system. Okay. So wreath type, what is it? It's going to be a 60-inch wreath. This one, you might have multiple ones. You might have 60-inch wreath decorated, or I'm sorry, 60-inch wreath with lights. You might have a 60-inch wreath without lights. So you might have to put multiple ones in here. As you can see, it's pretty simple. You've got to decide what is your wreath charge. I got it delivered for $50, 50 times, 20%. So we are at, I don't know why that's so hard for me, $10. So we're going to put $60 in here. Click save. And then I can add more if I want to. Okay. Okay. So we've got our products in there. We've got our lights and garland. We've got our wreaths and we've got our settings. So we are good to go. We can start doing some estimates here. All right. So the first thing you want to do, you want to add a customer. We've got to add a customer to the app. If I go to estimates first, and I want to add an estimate, what it's going to do, I click on estimates. Let me go back here real quick because I'm going fast. Okay, so these are our bottom menu items down here. If I click on estimates and I go to add estimate, it's going to ask me what the customer's name is, the first one. Oh, shoot, I forgot to add the customer. That's okay. I can do it right here if I want to. Okay, so I'm going to click on customer. We're going to put John Smith in here. Oh, John Smith. If I want to, these are not required fields. I don't have to put his phone number. I don't have to put a cell phone. You do want to put customer email. If you plan on sending the estimate to the customer, emailing it to them, you do need to add that in here. His address. If you want to put his address on here, There is a feature within the settings where you can actually see them on the map and stuff like that. And I'll show you here in just a second. We'll actually just put one in here. I'll just put this one. It actually pre-filled it for me right there. So I've got that address on there. It'll now show on the map. Sold, pending, lost. It's not any of those right now, just because we're pending, basically, is what we haven't sold it, we haven't lost it. So click save. Pretty simple to add a customer. Okay. So now I'm within this section. This is where, let's say, no, wait, sorry, I'm going to save this. No, I'm going to cancel this. Okay, so we've got our customers. Oh, shoot, I didn't save it. Sorry, guys. I don't know why I didn't save that. Let's try this again. There we go. Save. Okay, there he is, John Smith. I don't know why I didn't save it last time. Okay, so we got pending status. If we want to check the statuses of all the customers, you can go in here. John's going to fall under the pending. If we have multiple customers, one lost, it'll show in different categories down here. So we can easily move John Smith to one if that's the case. We just edit John Smith and we put him out. Sold, save. He's going to actually move into the sold category. You can see he's in the sold category. Okay. I can move him back because he's not sold yet. We haven't even pitched anything to him. So I'm going to put him at pending. Okay. And now John is in the pending category. Okay. So once we got John Smith, we got our customer information in there. We're going to click on estimates. We've got nothing in here yet. So we're going to click the plus sign. And I'm going to select my customer. John Smith shows up now. I'm going to select John Smith. Okay. And then here's where we select our sections, different sections that we have. You can see we have tons of different sections you can estimate out there. You got archways and arbors, balconies, fence lines, bushes, columns and pillars, extra equipment. If there's anything you need to add extra, you need a lift or whatever, you can add that in here as well. Light stakes, palm trees, ridges, ridge lines if you're doing them, roof lines. You can also do ridges. If you're going to do ridges, you can do those within the roof line section and just call it difficulty level 4 if you want to, or you can do a separate line item here if you want to do ridges. I would probably just do it in roof lines and just do it as a difficulty level 4 because it is more difficult. You got to get up there, put every single clip on by hand if you're using the canning clips. So I would definitely do level 4 on that one. Windows, REITs, tree inside wrap and tree outside wrap. Tree inside wrap is something we consider when you're wrapping the branches internally. The tree outside wrap is going to be the canopy wrap if you're going to wrap the outside of the canopy. Yard art and displays. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and select, we're just going to start with roof lines. It's the most simple one, most common one. We're going to select roof lines. Like I showed you earlier, you've got your difficulty level 1, 2, 3, and 4. You've got to go, if you want to reference back to those images, you can see what we consider difficulty level 1. I consider difficulty level 1 something that's easy, single story, something I can use with an A-frame ladder. Easily get to. So that's going to be difficulty level 1. So what we're going to do is measure the house. We got to walk it off, get our wheel out, however we want to do that. There are tools, there are measure maps, things like that. You can measure the roof line if you want, but you need to measure what the difficulty level 1 is going to be. So in this instance, we're going to call it 150 feet. Okay. Difficulty level 2, if I'm going to the second story, like maybe we are decorating the single, the bottom, and then we're doing the top as well. It's not as big. So let's just say it's going to be somewhere around 100 feet. And we're going to stop there. Do level 3 and 4. If I have those numbers, I need to measure, and then I put those numbers in the system as well. Staples needed. This is very important. Anybody that's been doing this long enough, when you do a staple job, it takes a lot longer than it does using clips. You've got to staple every single socket. Every staple that goes in must come out. So you got to get your needle nose at the end of the season. You've got to take them all out. So that's important to make sure. Are you using staples? Yes, we are, or no, we are not. If you are, you just click yes. It's going to add more to this estimate. It's going to charge the customer more. If you're not happy with that amount, you can always raise it up with your markup. Remember this markup? We had that in the settings. That was my default markup. I can change it here if I want. If I want to adjust it, maybe this job's further away, whatever, I can adjust it down or up within this section. Okay. So staples needed, we're going to put no. Any special conditions I need to worry about, we can add that there. There's nothing right at this point. Special conditions we need. Description, decorate lower roof line 360 degrees, decorate upper roof line 360 degrees. When you send out an estimate to a customer, within the app, there's an opportunity for 2 different estimates to be sent out. You can do it as an itemized estimate, which is broken down per section. It's going to show roof lines, the description of what you're doing, and then what you're charging for that roof line, that section. There's also a non-itemized one that just says basically Christmas light installation, residential Christmas light installation, total charge and total charge. That's it. Okay. So the description, you can use this to send to your back to your office, so they know exactly what you're doing, decorating front of the house and side of the house with warm white C9 bulbs. Whatever you want to add description wise, you can add it in this spot right here. Photos. Do I want to take a photo? So I can actually pull up my camera on my phone. I can take a photo. For this instance, we're just going to upload this right here, and then I can actually mark it up. Yeah, we're going to decorate the C. Perfect. Let's highlight that. We're going to decorate the E. We're going to skip the L. Whatever, you get the point here. So you'd upload it, take a photo of the house, and then you can actually mark up what you're going to be decorating. So you can do that as well. So again, that will, that'll show your installers what you're doing on this one. Okay. Here's my markup. This is the labor markup. Okay. My total break even on this project, this is what it cost me. This is if I want to be nonprofit, this is what I want to charge the customer. Okay. We are not nonprofit in this industry. So with my markup, my 130% markup, it's going to take 418 and it's going to mark it up 130%, 130% right here. And it's going to charge labor charge $962.64. That's just labor charge. We're not done yet. So now we're going to go select our lights. On this, we're going to do C9 light line. Okay. It's 250 feet we're decorating. If I go back to the top, I've got 150 in difficulty level 1, and I've got 100 feet in difficulty level 2. Okay. I'm going to scroll down. 250 feet we're decorating. My light charge is 380. So total charge to the customer for this project is 1342.64. Okay. The minutes, it does give me somewhat of a guide towards how long it's going to take. Now you have to take this with a grain of salt. I've taken this out. I've hidden this field because people are like, well, it didn't take me that long. People like it because they like to have somewhat of a reference. So you've got to take this with a grain of salt because people move at different speeds. I've seen people decorate, one installer decorated a tree and it took, he does 3 trees and then one installer takes, the same time to do 1 tree. So you really can't take this and be like, well, that wasn't right. I can decorate it, a lot quicker than that. So just, you got to take that into consideration. And then also what goes up must come down. So there is some time to drive out there and take things down. Okay. Okay. So once I'm done with that section, I'm going to click save. Are you girls monitoring the questions? Is there any questions yet?
Yeah, no questions.
Okay, perfect. Everybody's asleep. Okay, so we're back at John Smith. We got an estimate. If I want to look at, we've got status. Again, I showed you status earlier. This is pending. This is the total project. I can do a summary. It'll actually give me a breakdown of each customer. It'll show me a breakdown. We only have one section for John Smith. So we don't have to worry about that too much. Let me go back to the map when I put John Smith's information. So up in this hamburger menu, you've got the map, which is right here, job locations. Okay, as long as I have the address in there, it's actually going to show me where John Smith is, and John Smith is right there. Okay, so as I add more customers, if I want to utilize this, I can click on this. I can actually get driving directions, for John Smith if I want. So I can click right here. It'll give me driving directions. If I open that up, we're not going to do that. I don't know why I did that, but anyway, if I want to use this. So as we add more projects, this will actually zoom out a little bit more. So you'll be able to see all your different, customers on this field. Okay. Estimates, John Smith, we're going to click into him. So we've got roof lines. We're going to go ahead and add another one. And we're going to go ahead and add trees because that seems to be the #1 spot that people struggle with. You want to make sure you're bidding these properly. I've had people that underbid a job by 100 strands, and that's $1,000, $1,200, if you're paying $12 a strand. So very important that you spend the time when you're doing trees, that you're bidding them properly. This app is going to ensure that you're not losing money. Okay, so this is a tree inside wrap. If you want to reference what a tree inside wrap is, you can go back to Clip a U and you can check it out. We've got all sorts of pictures on there. This is us wrapping the tree, the trunk, the inside, the branches and stuff like that. Okay, so we've got the trunk height. That's the first thing we're going to measure. What is the height of the trunk? We're going to call this 8 feet. Okay. Spacing in inches. What is my vertical spacing? Vertical spacing is not something I'm discussing with the customer. I don't ever want to discuss like, oh yeah, we're going to do 6 inches, because you're going to have that nut job customer that's out there measuring and making sure that you did it exactly 6 inches. So you don't even want to go down that path. You're just selling, them on the fact you're going to decorate this tree, you're going to make it look beautiful. We're going to do warm white lights internally. It's going to look amazing. Vertical spacing. We typically do, a hand is what we do. That's about 5 to 6 inch spacing. So I'm going to go with 6 inch spacing right here, vertical. That's how far apart the lights are as we go up the tree. If it's a smaller circumference tree, I might do a little bit closer. This is a larger, we do large trees. We'll do about 6 inch spacing. Average circumference. I'm going to actually measure the circumference. I need to measure the circumference around the trunk of the tree. Make sure you don't try to guess this. Go outside after we're done here. Go out to a tree and try to guess what you think the circumference is. Measure it and see how far are you off. This is important because if you don't measure this, you don't get these numbers. You might bid this project and you think you're only using 10 strands. It might turn out to be 20 strands, and you just lost $100 and something right there because you underbid this project. Average circumference, I'm going to measure it. If the trunk is a little bit thicker in certain spots, I'm going to measure it probably on the thicker spot. Okay, so we're going to put 24 inches here. That's our circumference around the tree. How many trunks do we have? Sometimes there's multiple trunks coming off. In this case, we're just going to call it one trunk. Beautiful tree, one trunk. I can add it if it's 2 trunks and they're all the same dimensions. I could just add it here. Okay, but we're going to leave it at 1. All right, the next section is branch wrap data. Okay, how many feet are we measuring? I'm sorry, how many feet are we decorating on the branches? Okay, that's not from the ground. That's from where the trunk ends, from where the branch starts and the branch out. You want to make it almost an umbrella effect. You're not decorating this one 6 feet and this one 4 feet and this one 10 feet. You want to make sure you're trying to do an umbrella effect to make it look, nice and symmetrical. Okay. Wrap height. What are we decorating? You might have to get your measure out, measuring tape. You might have to just eyeball it. Just do your best. I definitely recommend overshooting on it if you're not sure. So how far out are we wrapping the branches? On this one, we're going to do 6 feet. Branch spacing in inches. Usually on the branches, we go a little bit closer because they are a smaller circumference. So we're doing more like a 4 inch spacing on our branches versus a 6 inch. So there's more lights on there. And then what is the largest circumference in inches? You want to take a look at all the branches. You want to find the largest circumference. Now, if there's a huge fluctuation, if you have some that are, probably 6 inch circumference, and then you have some that are, 12 inches circumference, you want to take an average if you can. You don't want to just take the largest. So you want to find, somewhere in the middle. So I would probably do about 10 inches if that was the case. And we're going to put 10 inch circumference here. How many branches are we decorating? Are we decorating the whole tree, tipping it out? For this instance, we'll just do, we're going to do 8. Okay. Any special conditions I need to add? Again, I can do that. I can add a percentage to this labor if I want to, if I need to up that a little bit, or I can just add it down below if I need to. Within each section, you're going to see all the same stuff. You're going to see special conditions. You're going to see description, decorate tree with warm white mini lights, whatever you want to describe. I definitely recommend taking a photo of the tree and then highlighting how high you're decorating. We've had it where there's been a discrepancy on, oh, you're supposed to go higher than that. Thank God I could pull up the image and be like, well, no, we're not. I show the customer that we're only supposed to go to this height. So they'll try to push you, especially HOAs and stuff like that. Oh, you're supposed to go higher. You're supposed to go higher. So make sure you have a reference point that you can go back to. Whoever's doing the sales, make sure they're talking about this is how high we're going to decorate. Make sure everybody's on the same page and have a picture, a photo that you can mark up, to make sure that you show that. So, we'll just basically take a photo of the tree. I hope I have any trees in here, but
Matt, we do have a question.
Okay. We'll call that my
John's
tree.
asking, what if I want to create a 3-level estimate?
A 3-level estimate.
John, do you mean 3 different packages, or do you mean if the home is 3 levels?
In her email.
What I mean is 3 different estimates. It's like there's a $700 package, the $1,500 package, and the $2,500 package. The best, is there a best way methodology in this estimating? Is creating 3 different estimates with just the name type thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, the way you would have to do it, I can look at doing a copy feature where you can copy it over and then delete some sections if you want to, John. I mean, that's something we can definitely look at doing. But for right now, you basically have to create 3 different estimates for that customer and go in there, which I know is time consuming. It's way too time consuming. You're going to go pitch this job. You're going to go pitch it. You're going to pitch the highest estimate first. Okay. So at that point, basically, oh my God, they're blowing out of water. It's like, that's crazy. That's, way too much. Okay. Well, how about we remove the bushes? How about we remove this? And then at that point, you're just deleting. I'll show you how you can delete sections if it comes to that, and you're just deleting it. Okay, well, I took the bushes away, and now we're, at 1,200. That's right around your budget. Are you good with that? I'll show you how you can easily delete them. As far as creating 3 different estimates and showing 3 different estimates to the customer, there is no means to do that right now without just creating. I can create 3 estimates for John Smith. I just have to go in there and do exactly, the same stuff. If it's a roof lines and it's simple, it wouldn't be a problem doing it. But if it gets more sophisticated where it's bushes and trees, I actually have to go in there and create one for John Smith with the bushes, the trees, and the wreath. And then I got to go create another one for John Smith, bushes and roof line, and then another one, roof line only. That would be the way to do it right there. Or you just present the most expensive option first and you take things away from that estimate. That's what I would recommend doing. Hopefully that helped, John.
That's what I thought. Thank you.
Okay. So right here, I just uploaded one of the images that I had for the back end of Clip of You. So I take a photo of the tree and then I'm going to mark it up and just let the customer know this is how high we're decorating. Obviously, that's the height of the tree. So we know we're decorating the whole thing. Maybe we're not. They don't have a big budget. So I'm just going to mark it up right here. And just to show my installers how high we're going, make sure we're on the same page, the customer's on the same page. So when I decorate that tree, I know exactly how high I'm supposed to be going. Okay. Okay. So again, here's our markup, 125%. And then we've got total break even. That's what it costs me to decorate this tree. Labor charge 194 on this job. We're going to use mini lights. So I'm going to go with this. We're going to go with 4-inch spacing mini lights. Okay. It's 190 feet based on my numbers. Up top, 6-foot trunk. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back here. 8-foot trunk, 6-foot spacing in inches, vertical spacing. Circumference 24, not a huge tree. It's not a very big trunk, 24 inches. We're only doing one of those. And then the branch height, 6 feet. It's not very high. So it's a smaller tree, not huge in decorating. Our charge to the customer, we're at 194 labor. And then when I select mini lights, it's 190 feet. And our labor charge is 105.60. Total cost is $336 to the customer for this project. Okay. This is very accurate, this 190 feet right here. So what the app actually does, because you can't cut mini lights, my mini light strands are 24 feet. Okay. So if I'm actually using 4 mini light strands on this tree, let's say it's 100 feet, total feet is 100 feet. It's actually going to charge the customer for 5 strands is what it's going to do. So it's going to round it up to the next strand because I'm going to have to use a 5th strand to finish off this tree as long as I'm decorating the way I put the numbers in the system. So the app does recognize that and it'll round it up. If it was perfectly, if I used 25-foot strands and it was 100 feet, it would charge the customer for 4 strands. If it was 101 feet, it would charge them for 5 strands if it was 25-foot strands. Okay. So that's a nice feature of this app. It does round it up for you. Okay. So that's 190. So basically 190 divided by 24. We're using 8 strands is what we're going to be using on this size tree. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to click save. And we've got them right here. So this kind of goes back to John. You know, we were talking about it. We put all of our stuff in there. Let's say we pitch to the customer. We've got the roof lines. We've got trees. We've got bushes. We're going to present the most expensive option first is what we're going to do. And then, oh man, that's a little bit high. You know, I can go in, I can see the total. So I can go to summary and see where we're at. We're at 1643. Maybe John was like, well, shoot, my budget's 1300, so, well, let me see what I can do, John. We can take away that roof line. So I can go back to John's estimate. Click on here. I've got my sections. I can actually go up here and I click this little box, little check box. And then it allows me to delete these sections if I want. Maybe we're just going to take that away. Well, I'm looking to be right around 1400. Can we do that? Sure, John. Let me go ahead and take this off. And then you can actually hit the trash can up here. That'll take off that section right there. And then that'll drop them down to 1342.64. Yeah, that's good. God, but I really want those trees. Well, John, let me see what I can do. I can work some numbers. Maybe you want to go back into that estimate. Tree inside wrap. Maybe I edit this section. I can edit all my sections. Maybe I go back in here. I'm like, all right, I'm at 125%. I still want to make money. Let me get this down to 110% markup on labor. See what we can do. Drops it down a little bit, 287. Well, John, I can keep those trees. I can keep that, where we're at. And then we're still looking at, we're right around 1630. Does that work for me? No, that's still too much, or, whatever. So you can delete sections if you want, and that'll get you to where your budget is. If they're just blown out of the water, it's too high, whatever, go in here and take away things. Okay, so that's the only way you can do it for now, unless you want to create another estimate, which I can do. I can go into estimates, I can add an estimate, and then I want to do John Smith. Again, section, we'll just do bushes real quick. This is easy. 150. I'm going to go through the bush section here in a minute, so I'll show you guys. Lights, we're going to do mini lights. Save. Oh, actually, what it did, John, you would have to put it under the same one. So I was actually wrong on that. So it did put bushes under John Smith. So what you would have to do is you would have to actually do a new customer, John Smith 2-2. So it's kind of a lot of work. So what I would recommend is just doing the most expensive first and then taking away sections. Okay, John, that's fine. We can drop you down to 1600. I'll just take away those bushes, delete that, delete, yes, confirm. Okay, we are at 1630. How's that sound? Oh, perfect. Let's do it. Great. So anyway, you have the ability to delete sections as well. Okay. All right, so we'll go back to our estimate. John, we're going to click on the plus sign. We're going to add another section. Okay, we can do columns and pillars. We'll go and add that. And so we're going to decorate a few columns. This has the same measurements as a tree. So we're going to do linear feet or decorating. These are 12 foot. What is our vertical spacing in inches? We're going to do 6. That's the most common that we do. And then what is our circumference? Typically columns are the same across the board. So we're going to say this is a large column, 36 inches. Make sure you put inches. I had somebody put feet the other day and they only had 3. It's going to make a huge difference in your pricing. So you got to make sure you do inches in this spot right here. This is what the problem he was having right here. Okay. How many columns am I doing? There's 2 in the front. So we're just going to click 2. They're the same size. Any special conditions, description, take some photos, markup. I've got my markup. We're going to do 130% on this one. Total break even, and then labor charge. What kind of lights are we using? On this one, we're going to do mini lights, 6-inch spacing. And again, lights charge, total cost, $355.23, save. And there we go. Okay, if I want to see the summary on John, this is where he's at. He's at 1985. I'm within his budget and we're close to it. Told me he had a $2,000 budget. Maybe you want to add a wreath in there. Maybe you want to go a little bit higher. You always want to try to sell a little bit more. If he told me his budget's 2,000, most likely he's willing to go 2,300, somewhere around there, maybe higher. So again, present that most expensive option first, then you can always take away. Okay. If they're blown out of the water, you can remove sections. So, okay. So I'm going to go through, just do a few more sections here. I'm going to do some bushes. All right, so let's do a bush section. Okay, so when I'm measuring bushes, you can do it two different ways here. If it's multiple bushes and I want to break it out, what I can do is I measure one bush. You're going to measure the surface area. If you need to reference back to clip of U, we have photos there of how we measure it. So I measure the surface area, the front of the bush, And then what is the height of the bush? So let's say it's 8 by 3, that's going to be 24. And then I have another bush I'm decorating. I can add those together if I want. Maybe the next one was, 35. If I want to add those two together and just put 59 on here, I can, or I can put it in bush area 2. That one was 35. And then guess what's going to pop up? Another one if I want to do it. So I can do it this way. I can combine them all. It's going to give you the same results regardless, as long as you measure the surface area that you're decorating and input those numbers in here, it's going to give you the same result, whether I break it out per bush or if I do it all lumped together in one spot. So, we got into the bush we're decorating in the back of the house. We measured it. It's, a longer bush. It's 10 by 4. So that's 40 right here. Okay. And then bush area 4. So I can keep going on this, or I can take all these numbers, combine them and put them in bush area 1. It's going to give me the same result. Once again, special conditions, description, photo, if I want to take a photo, my markup. I figure out what my markup's dropping for some reason. Okay, we got 125%, break even, labor charge, how many lights am I using? What type of lights? We're going to use 4-inch spacing because I like those, a lot more bulbs on that when I put it on the tree or on the bush. Okay, so total cost down here. Labor, lights charge. Now bushes is not exact science because what we train is S patterns. So, doing S patterns throughout the bush. So your S patterns might be closer than mine or further apart. So it's not a perfect science when it comes to this. You want to do your best to stick to how many feet of light it is. It says 321 feet divided by 24. So right now it's telling me I'm using about 13 strands on this bush, on these bushes, I should say. And bushes do take up a lot of strands. If you've ever decorated bushes and done it, for those that have attended our training, when we go out and decorate bushes, you see it eats up lights real quick, especially when you're doing the S pattern. So if you want, you can just do net lighting. I don't like net lighting, but that's another option as well. Click save, and there we go. We've got our all our stuff going on. So I can see my complete summary, what we're at, $2,200 for John Smith. Okay. All right, so we have any questions at this point? Jeff, you got anything for me? No? Anybody, any other sections you want me to go through? It's all pretty standard across the board. If you go back to clip a U, I'll just go back there real quick, just in case you missed it. Go back to clip a U. There are some examples. You go to estimating, there's tutorials. So we have all the tutorials that you can go through. You can see this, this video it's recorded. This will be up there. So you can go back and watch it if you want. But again, this is all the stuff we just talked about, how to set up your settings, what each section means. When you go in there, estimating calculators, this is the menu, hamburger menu on the left-hand side, all your settings menu, what each of them, mean. And then lights and garland, so on and so forth. This is what we consider difficulty levels for windows. I'm sorry, for roof lines. Tree inside wrap, as I discussed within the app, you saw these sections. So this is what we call the trunk, decorating the trunk, the vertical spacing, what's the height of the trunk we're decorating, and then what is the circumference. Those are the 3 numbers that go here. Wrap height and feet for tree inside wrap, the branch section. So again, we're starting at where the branches start, measuring out, and then we're putting that number in the system. What is our wrap height? What is our branch spacing that we're doing? It's going to be closer on branches because they're smaller circumference. You don't want to go 6-inch spacing because it's going to be really far apart. You probably want to go closer. So make sure you put 4-inch spacing in there or whatever you decide to do. Larger circumference, measure all the circumferences, and then number of branches you're decorating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever that number may be, you're going to put that right here. Tree outside wrap, this is how we do our measurements. This one you do kind of have to eyeball when you're doing a canopy like that. So again, the trunk date is the same. The tree outside wrap, basically you need to measure the height of the decorating surface or what you're decorating right here. And then what is your vertical spacing? For this, it's real hard on certain trees to get the vertical spacing perfect. So you got to do your best to, whatever it may be, 1 foot, 2 feet. Make sure you do your best to decorate it according to what you put in the app. And then what is my circumference around it? So I need to measure all the way around this tree, my decorating circumference. Bushes, as I showed you earlier, you're going to be doing the bushes across, measure right here, how far this is, and then your height, multiply those together. That is your surface area. For a rounded bush, you want to basically measure it as if it's a box. So if that's what we're decorating, just measure straight across, straight up, and then multiply those together, put that in the system. Okay. Fence lines, measure the fence line. You're going to put that in the app, difficulty level 1, 2, 3, 4. You do have different opportunities there. You do have an opportunity to select different things, because this straight across, if that's 24 feet, I'm going to use one strand of mini lights. It's 24 feet long. But if we're doing swags, or if we're doing V patterns, it's a different story. So I need to select this button, swags, and it's going to be roughly, it's going to add a percentage to it. It's going to be probably about 32 feet, somewhere around there, because you're swagging them down a little bit further. So it adds more footage to it. It's going to charge the customer more for lights versus going straight across. Okay. Same thing with V pattern. I want to select V pattern. If this is the pattern I'm doing, I want to make sure I select that. So we're charging the customer for more lights, because this is going to take more lights than just going straight across. Windows, again, difficulty level, windows, and then other sections that we have available. Within each section, this is what you find. As I mentioned, you're always going to see description. You're always going to see a photo opportunity. You're always going to see the markup. You're going to see your total break even, labor charge, lights, and then total feet. And then you'll see lights charge. So this is all in every single section. You'll see this stuff right here. And that's it. There's other sections we can go through if anybody wants me to go through any particular section. But as you can see, if I want to add to this, these are all my different sections. We have an opportunity to bid on a project. So yeah, we got any questions?
I have a couple questions.
Okay, perfect.
So I've got a job I'm working on right now where they want outside tree wrap, but they only want the trunks wrapped. These are really large trees. They're like 25 feet in circumference.
Okay.
So I was curious how you would do that. And my other question is, like, do you ever vary your spacing depending on the size of the trees, or you just do 6 inches no matter what circumference the tree is?
We vary the spacing. If it's larger trunks, we're going to go probably about 6-inch spacing. But as you get into the branches, that's where we vary the spacing. We do about 4-inch spacing on the trunk, on the branches, if they're smaller. Back to your first thing, the first question you said, I think you said you were doing an outside wrap, but they only want the trunk wrapped. Is that right? You there?
Jeff, are you there?
Okay, well, I think he said he was doing an outside wrap, but then he said they only want the trunk wrap. So I'm a little bit confused on that, because an outside wrap is what we consider the canopy of the tree. So if they want just the canopy of the tree, you can do that. You would basically just go into, if I'm in there, I would do an outside wrap right here. Trunk height, we're not decorating the trunk. So I'm going to put 0 here. I'm going to put 0 here. I'm going to put 0 here. And then I'm just going to go to the outside wrap portion of it. And that's where we go back to here. This would be the canopy of the tree. We're decorating just this portion right here. So I just put 0 here, 0 here, 0 here, because they don't want the trunk wrap. They just want the outside wrap done. So we would measure this, get those figures, and then we would go up here. What am my vertical spacing that I'm decorating? I'm sorry, what is my wrap height? So that would be basically from here, the top of the tree, down here. So let's just say that's 8 feet. Vertical line spacing, I'm going to do my best to keep them. Anybody that's done outside wraps, you know how difficult it is to keep them perfect. So I'm probably going to put in this one, we're probably going to try to keep it 12 inches if possible, because there's a lot of branches, easy to to get it close. And then what is my largest circumference? The reason we take the largest circumference times 0.65, and you got to put it in inches, so you got to do some math here, is because if you look at this tree, I'm going to use a lot less lights down in this section and also in the top versus here. Okay, So that's what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure all the way around this tree. What is my circumference around this tree? Okay, so let's say my circumference turns out to be, let's say it turns out to be, 36 feet. I'm gonna multiply that times 0.65. Okay, that's 23 feet. I'm gonna multiply that times 12 because I need to put it in the app in inches, and I'm gonna put 280 inches here. And then how many of those trees am I decorating? Maybe it's a large project, like I think Jeff was saying that he has. Maybe it's 10, 15 trees. I can put that in here. I'm just going to put 10 trees we're decorating. And then we're going to scroll down, any special conditions I need to know about, description. If I want to put anything in there, take some photos of the tree, 125% markup. So my total break even is 1,020. Labor charge 22 just to install those 10 trees. And then what kind of lights are we using on those trees? I'm going to use mini lights, 6-inch spacing. Okay, so there's my lights charge, and then there's my total cost for those 10 trees, $34,23.99. Okay, and then I would click save. Hopefully I answered your question, Jeff. I think that's what you're asking. Oh, I need to put customer in there, so I'm going to put John Smith.
Can you hear me?
I can now, yeah.
Okay, I think my mic cut out earlier. What
Oh.
I was saying is the customer only wants the trunks of these trees done, not the canopy.
Yeah, so you're just going to do it as an inside wrap is what you're going to do. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do inside wrap. So if this is the section right here, inside wrap, I'm going to put my trunk data, 8, 6, whatever it may be. How many of those trees am I doing? I'd probably put here, how many trunks am I doing? Because it's all separate trees. We're going to do 10 of those trunks. And then I would have this data because we're not doing the branches. This would be 0, 0, 0, 0. For the branch data because we're not decorating the branch. Or you can go in if you wanted to, so that I would save that. Or the other option, if you want to, you can also do it as a let me see if we have palm trees. I used to have palm trees in here. I don't know if I do anymore. Yeah, I could do it as a palm tree. So if you want to go in there and do it as a palm tree, you can do that. The data within a palm tree, because usually they're just typically straight up and down, is just going to be the trunk data is what it is. So linear feet, maybe these are 10-foot trees. And my vertical spacing, I'm going to do a 6-inch spacing because they're all pretty even and pretty big circumference, 36 circumference. Number of palm trees we're going to do is 10. Okay. It's not a very big palm tree, 10 feet, but we do palm trees that are 45. Actually, some of them we do are 95 feet. So we'll just go based on 10 feet. Any special conditions, fronds, if you're going to do fronds, rough trunk, yes or no. Okay. If you've ever seen palm trees, some people like, or what's a palm tree? We got a lot of palm trees in California. But anyway, rough trunk with a palm tree. We do have that in there. If you've ever decorated a smooth palm versus a rough palm, it's a completely different story. So it definitely takes time. If it's a rough trunk, you want to put yes, because that's going to add a percentage to the price for the customer. Fronds, are we going to decorate the fronds that come out? Some people do that. I've done it before. Make sure you wear gloves because there's little needles up in those fronds that like to poke you on certain trees. So fronds, yes, we're going to select that. Number of 6-inch fronds. How far are we going? I'm 6 feet. I'm sorry. How many feet? How many are we going out? 6 feet. Are they 9 foot all the way out? Are they 12 feet? Are they 15 feet? So we're going to decorate. They go out about 6 feet. I'm going to put number of 6-foot fronds. We're going to do, there's 8 of them if we're doing fronds. Okay. If not, I'm not going to worry about this section. I'm going to click no. And I'm going to scroll down to 125% markup, type of lights, mini lights. Okay. And then there's my charge. So you can do it that way, Jeff. I was just kind of showing you, you can either do it. It's the same calculations based on a trunk of a inside wrap, outside wrap, trunk data, or a palm tree. It's all the same numbers. It'll spit out the same calculations. So if that's how you want to do it, you can do that as well. That's what I would recommend doing it this way. Customer, John Smith, save. Now under John Smith, we're going to see our summary. You see John Smith, he's way above his budget. His budget was only $2,000. We're at $7,000. So John, this is what I'm going to present to him and see if he likes it. He's probably going to fall off his chair and not want to talk to me. But anyway, here's where we're at. Oh, that's way too expensive. Okay, well, let's not do the palm trees. Let's take that off. Edit that. Tree outside wrap. This was the palm tree, or I'm sorry, this is the tree outside wrap that we put 10 of them. And I'm just going to hit delete. Delete. There we go. Down to 3,700. How's that sound, John? Good to go? Perfect. Let's do it. Okay, so John's excited about this. If I want to send the estimate to John through the app, if I decide I want to do that, I'd click on John Smith. Here's my opportunity to send to the customer. Here's my opportunity to send to the office. As long as I have an email address in the settings for the office, I can send it to the office itemized, or I could send it to the customer itemized. We talked about send to the customer. It's going to be just residential Christmas light installation, $3,700. That's the total. Send a customer itemized is going to be broken down. It's going to show pretty much what you see here. Summary. It's going to give it every single section broken down. It's going to have the description. If you type the description in there, it'll say tree inside wraps, and then whatever description you put, and then the total charge for it. It's not going to break down labor charge and light charge. It's going to combine it all into one because we are leasing to the customer. So you're going to see a total charge, $382 and $224 for that tree inside section is what you're going to see, a total charge, not light charge, labor charge. Okay, because this is a leasing model right now. Okay. Okay, well, that's the gist of the estimating app. And if there's not any other questions.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, I had a question.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, yeah. So if I were to do one or two small estimates, would you or anybody be available maybe just to do a high level look at it and just give some pointers?
Absolutely not. No, I'm just kidding. Of course. Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I want you guys, this app, I've built a lot of this app. So for me, it's, I know it by the back of my hand, it's simple for me. But, for you guys, it's brand new. I understand. I recognize that you have no clue what you're doing when you're going into here. It's foreign to you. I want to make sure that it's not foreign to you going into the season. So for sure, by all means, put together some estimates, call us, let's go through them. I've been doing it all week, for, certain individuals. I want to make sure you feel comfortable. Now's the time to do it before we get into the busy season, October, November, when you guys are really cranking away. I want to make sure you guys are fully trained on this, fully understand it, and feel confident that you can go in and do an estimate within the estimating app and, sell some projects.
Okay. And one other item was the information in the tutorial on that web page. Is it available in a form that we can print out and maybe put in a book?
You can just download these if you want, if that's how you want to do it. I can look at doing something,
Okay.
maybe putting together a PDF. I don't know when I can get to it.
Sure.
But for the time being, if you wanted to, if you have Canva, that's the easiest thing.
No, it's not a big deal to do it. I mean, if
Okay.
it was available, I was just going to see if it was
I
available.
don't. There's going to be a lot of new additions that I'm adding, more for the Clippa, back end, the Clippa member back end. I've already added a lot of new stuff in there, but I like the idea of something that's easy, downloadable, that you can take. For now, literally, I just did this this week. All these, because the pictures that were on here, they're real small. There wasn't much descriptions, so I redid all this last week. So these pictures, a lot bigger and all that stuff. But I don't have anything currently. But I think it's a great idea to have something.
Okay, thank you.
I'll put it on the wish list. Okay, questions? Anybody that's on the fence of using it? If you have any questions for me.
We have another question.
All right.
For flower beds and paths, what section are you using?
Like stake lighting? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So stake lighting, we actually have a section in there for that. So I'm going to go in here and customer, obviously. And we have light stakes. Okay. How many feet are you decorating? You're just going to put that in there. You're going to say, whatever. You just got to walk it off. You got to measure it. We're going to do 150 feet, stake lighting. Any special conditions I have to worry about? Is the ground going to be frozen? I have to drill in to get my starter holes, whatever. You can always add a percentage, or you can add a percentage down here. As always, you can add a percentage down here. So 135, and then total break even, labor charge. Again, select my lights. I'm probably going to use C9 light line. You can also go back in there. This is another thing you can do within the settings when you want to put lights in here. If you want to do, because your stakes might be a little bit more expensive. So maybe you want to do C9 light line, stake lighting, dash stake lighting. So when I select this, it's a little bit different. It's going to charge maybe, maybe my stake lights are, 45 cents per piece versus, in the beginning, we put tough clips in there at 20 cents or 22. So maybe you do want to have a separate, the customer will not see this. They will not see whatever this is. So maybe I want to go back into my, my lights and add a C9 light line, stake lights. And then I'm going to take my price of my C9 light line, my price of my bulbs, and then my price of my light stakes. And I'm going to incorporate those all together. So now it's going to charge the customer 150 feet times, maybe it's $1.75 with my cost. So 1.75 times 150. So instead of charging it 228, it's going to charge them 262. So that was a great question, and I'm glad we touched upon that. So I would add another line item here. That would be, let me just go back here, just in case you don't remember where that was. I'm going to hamburger menu, lights and garland. I would add another one, and it would be C9 light line. So I'd probably do this. And I would do stake lighting. Okay, so I'd figure out, is this strand? No, it's not. It's 1 foot. I'm going to do a per foot price. And then I would figure out what my price is. Let's say my bulb is 80 cents. I'm just going to do this easy. My bulb is 80 cents. And then maybe my per foot price on my socket wire, I figure out with shipping and all that stuff, is 30 cents. So I'm at $1.10. And then my stakes are 40 cents. So now I'm at $1.50. So 1.5, $1.50 times 0.2. I'm going to add that 20% because still I have to use X wire, males and females and all that stuff. So from on $1.50, I'm 30 cents above. I'm going to put $1.80 here, 1.8. Okay, click save. And then I'm going to go back into that stake lighting. Edit it. And then I scroll down. And instead of C9 light line, I'm going to select my C9 stake lighting. 150 feet times $1.80, $270. So I'd recommend doing it that way. Click save. There you go. Okay, I hope that hopefully I answered the question. I know you said flower beds. Flower beds is going to be a little bit different. If you're decorating just the flower beds on the ground, if you're just putting many lights stringing through it, I would use that as a bush section. What I would do is measure the area that I'm decorating and do the same thing as a bush, because I'm going to use through flower beds and things like that. I'm going to do an S pattern throughout them. And then, so I would just put that under the bush category is what I would do. Okay. Christy, any other questions? We good? Anybody has anything, chime in, feel free. I'm here to answer questions. I'm going to be here available for you after this too. If you have any other questions, like, somebody had mentioned they want to help with estimates. Your first couple, for sure, call us. We will guide you through it. We won't help you necessarily sell it, but we'll make sure your numbers look okay, and make sure you're on the right page. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, I do appreciate everybody's time. I appreciate the opportunity to present this to you, and hopefully you have a clearer idea of how it works. If you're using it, hopefully this shed some light on how to use it and stuff. So we're excited for the season. We're here to help you guys. If you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're all available. If we don't get back to you right away, we'll do our best to get back to you within ample time. I've been on the phone with several of you throughout this week, and that's just what I'm here for. And I want to make sure that we're helping you guys and making sure you're ready for the season. We're excited for the season. We're excited to hear the success stories of everybody that's been to our trainings this year. Very excited to see how well you guys do this year. So this is a get your feet wet year. Hopefully you make some profit. Everybody's profit's going to vary because you might have to buy ladders and trucks and things like that, where other people don't have to. They already have that stuff. So maybe you want to up your break evens just a little bit more, but you don't want to price yourself out of the job. So make sure you're sticking to the stuff within the app. Okay. Well, if we don't have anything else, we're going to sign off. Unless somebody wants to chime in real quick.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, John. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. All right, well, I want
Bye.
to thank everybody for joining us. And then if you want to email me, shoot me an email, matt@clippa.com. You can email any of the girls, Chelsea@clippa.com, Courtney@clippa.com, Christy@clippa.com, and pretty simple to remember. But if you guys have any questions, definitely reach out to us and we can help you out. And then we'll get on a Zoom call if we have to, whatever we need to do. But we're excited to hear the success stories, throughout the whole crowd of you. So Clippa members, non-Clippa members, whatever. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. And have a great holiday weekend.
You too. See you in a couple weeks.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.